Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Celeste Cabra, and today I was looking over some of my recent acquisitions in my Blu-ray collection, and I realized that I hadn't done one of these in quite some time, and I've really expanded quite a bit in that period of time. Perhaps gone overboard a bit, but that's a discussion for me and my bank account, I suppose. So I'm just going to go through a few different hauls that I either made in stores or in person at festivals or through online sales. The first thing I want to talk about is this set from Imprint of the Wicker Man. This was actually a very sweet present from my girlfriend. She got this for me for my birthday, which was wonderful. The Wicker Man is actually my favorite film of all time. I have a tattoo of the film poster right here, so there was my credentials. And you know, this set is obviously completely gorgeous. You can see the back, this absolutely beautiful artwork, but the price point was pretty high. I do already have this set here from Studio Canal, and there's a good amount of crossover on these two, but there's definitely stuff on this that you're not going to get anywhere else, including this absolutely beautiful box. So I was extremely happy to have this, and extremely happy that I have such a wonderful partner. Okay, so these first couple were over at Plan 9 Records here in Richmond. The first was this 4K UHD copy of the Scream 2-movie double pack. This just came out, and they had it for $10 used. So I love the first Scream film, but to be honest, I'm kind of dreading watching this fifth one. It's the only one in the series I haven't seen, and for me, the series really suffers from repeating itself and diminishing returns. 2 and 3 are okay, I think, but 4 really feels like taking the concept of beating a dead horse to a new level. Let's see. And then the other thing I picked up there was this recent release of the Criterion edition of High Sierra. This has a extra bonus film in it. It's called Colorado Territory, which is a remake of this film. This just came out pretty recently, and they had this for $15, which beats the sale price. So I went ahead and grabbed that too. I haven't seen it yet, but with Ida Lupino and Humphrey Bogart, really, how can you go wrong? And this excellent cover art, I'm excited to check it out. Okay, next is a haul that I got from the Tech Exchange here in Richmond. So I had my old Wii console and all the bells and whistles and a bunch of old Goodwill box Blu-rays that I hadn't sold off yet, and they're not worth a ton, and I just wanted to take it all there, and they could buy it and give me store credit for whatever they want, because I don't know enough about gaming consoles or the accessories to really know what that stuff is worth. I knew that they had recently acquired a bunch of Criterion editions, which is why I decided to go to the Tech Exchange and not something like Second and Charles. What I didn't know, and what I was very pleased about, was the amount that they had left and the quality of the things that they had left. So this is the stack of what I got from there. When all is said and done, I think I paid $25 for all of this after the store credit. So that felt pretty unreal. So let's start off with the most plainclothes edition, I guess. This is Kelly Reichardt's Certain Women. I haven't seen this yet, but it stars Laura Dern and Kristen Stewart. So how can you really go wrong there? Kelly Reichardt is probably one of my favorite directors of all time. She's just really amazing. If you've never seen anything from her, I would recommend checking Wendy and Lucy or First Cow First. Those films are amazing. I'm excited to get into this one. The next one is this documentary film set from Claude Lanzmann. It's entitled Shoah. This is the I guess, rather ambitious, 8-hour Holocaust documentary with bonus films included. I have been told that this is like the be-all end-all of, you know, Holocaust documentary filmmaking. I've read interviews with the director of this about his thoughts on Schindler's List, which I think are really interesting. I don't currently agree with them, but maybe when I'm done with this, I will. Yeah, I don't know. The opportunity, the emotional opportunity, I guess, to sit through 8 hours of that kind of grueling content doesn't often present itself, but so I think it's something you just gotta kind of actively choose to power through and do anyway, because it's important. And then the last thing I got, I was so stoked that they had this in flawless condition, was the 5 films by John Cassavetes box. Now, my history of John Cassavetes is a little bit mixed. You know, I saw him in Rosemary's Baby, and that's one of my favorite films ever made, but that's not him directing, right? Then I watched the Criterion edition of Husbands on the channel, and I hated it. Like, I really hated it. That was several years ago, and I think maybe it's time to give it a rewatch, but at the time I found it utterly excruciating. But then I watched, a couple months ago, I watched the first film in this set, Shadows, and I thought it was just great. Like, it's made on like a shoestring micro budget, so it's a little rough around the edges, and you know, the film print wasn't in the best condition, but the social commentary, the directing, the cinematography, everything is so excellent. And you know, it really convinced me that maybe I'd read this director wrong. And you know, for the price I found it at, how can you go wrong, really? It also includes Faces, A Woman Under the Influence, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Opening Night, and there's a documentary on here too. What's it called? I can't find that, but it's a documentary that was its own Criterion edition as a DVD and then was upgraded through this box set. So that's pretty neat. All right, next is just a random pickup that I did. I found a copy of The Suicide Squad on 4K with the slipcover on eBay for like $10 or something. After tax, it was like $11. I thought I had found like the steal of the fucking year or something, but then like right after that, Amazon did a deal for like $12 or something. So I was like, oh. But, you know, whatever. It came with the code. It was brand new. This was one of my favorite films of last year. It's probably my second favorite superhero film that I've ever seen. I think it's so charming and funny, and the action scenes are so good. I don't know. It's everything that a comic book movie should be to me. And I'm sad that it didn't make more money. I hope that, you know, well, I mean, I was going to say I hope that the studio doesn't get the wrong message, but they already greenlit like 2 seasons of the spin-off show for this, so I don't know, hopefully we get another film because I just think it's so great, but if we don't, we'll always have that. Next, I attended Maryland Death Fest this year with my girlfriend, and that takes place in Baltimore, and while we were there, I really wanted to visit Atomic Books because I know that that's John Waters' favorite bookstore, and he has autographed editions of all his Criterion Blu-rays there. And I checked on the site and it said that they were in stock, so we went in and lo and behold, they had all of them. They also had like all of his films, the Shout Factory ones included. That was a bit intimidating because they're sold at full MSRP since they have the signature, but you know, the original plan was to get all of them. But then I thought, I mean, Pink Flamingos is about to come out. I want to get that as soon as possible. I don't want to wait for it to show up there. I already have a couple of his books that are signed. Like, how many signatures of his do I really need? You know, so I went ahead and narrowed it down to just 2. And we got multiple Maniacs because this is my favorite John Waters film. It says a celluloid atrocity on it. I think that that's a really good description. It's among the most blasphemous films I've ever seen. It's among the funniest films I've ever seen. Watch Multiple Maniacs. It's incredible. And we also went with Polyester. The reason we went with that one is because it's not a Janus Films release, so I can't watch it on the channel. And well, I mean, aside from coming with the Odorama card, which I think is just wonderful, the insert, you know, which has the booklet or the essays on one side and then a poster on the other, is also signed. So after I read that, I'm probably going to get that framed up. So that was enough incentive for me to go ahead and get this one too. Also, Polyester is great. You should watch Polyester too. It's like specifically a satire on Douglas Sirk melodramas, of which I've seen none. So I think I need to watch some of those and then give it another try. But you know, it's definitely a pretty clear satire on like the nuclear family, the American dream, women's pictures and melodramas in general. There's a lot going on, and it's really great. Okay, so next. So while I was at Maryland Death Fest, I actually had just finished placing my halfway to Black Friday order at Vinegar Syndrome's website, including a halfway subscription. So I was like, you know, fucking spent. I spent a lot of money, and I wanted to set aside some money for the band merch. So me and my girlfriend are walking around looking at all the different vendors, looking at bootleg t-shirts and official merchandise and this, that, and the other. I'm not too impressed until we get to the Vinegar Syndrome booth that I had no idea was going to be there. So, having already spent an absolutely absurd, exorbitant amount of money on the Vinegar Syndrome site, I couldn't help myself. And after resisting the first go-around, I came back because I had been looking for a copy of this, the WNUF Halloween special with the slipcover. I had been checking out, you know, on the drive up to the fest, and it sold out in the middle of me checking out. So I was like, shit, I guess I can't have it. But I went back, and lo and behold, there it is. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it looks crazy. It's like some kind of fucking like horror broadcast that was done where like they were trying to trick people into thinking that it was like a real like haunted house investigation or something. And apparently it's been like highly sought after and hard to find for decades essentially. And you know, it comes with this lovely embossed slipcover with like the bat sticker on it. It just feels great, you know. You know, I guess I always tell myself that these sort of things retain their value if I don't end up liking it. But I think that mentality is getting me in trouble. So while I was there, I was speaking to the guy from Vinegar Syndrome. I forget what his actual job title was. But, you know, he actually works there. And I was like, hey, what do you have that's like sold out or about to sell out? Like, what's the thing to get? And he told me that I should get Thriller. He said, this is almost certainly going to sell out if it hasn't already. And I checked, and he was right. 10,000 units of this thing sold out. And people are losing their mind trying to get it, paying ridiculous flipper prices. And, you know, $50 was pretty steep for it, but that's less than what they were charging on the site, you know? Like, only subscribers got that any cheaper. And again, like, this will absolutely retain its value if I don't like it, but from what I understand, it's a pretty gritty sort of rape and revenge film with like porn scenes inserted, is what I've heard. I don't know. I feel like it could go either way, but people are losing their damn minds in the Facebook group about it. So I'm happy I have a copy and I can watch it, and there will be plenty of people asking for it if I decide to sell it. And finally, he also said that the New York Ninja magnetic clasp box edition was likely to sell out. And I checked, and it was already sold out. So I thought, again, like the fool I am, hey, if you don't like it, you can sell it, just buy it. This is apparently like, it's a film that they recreated from scratch, like from the source elements, and they had to add their own stuff. I'm not entirely sure, but the guy assured me that it was amazing, and we'll see if I agree. if anything, the special features about how they created it should be fairly interesting. Okay, and because the universe hates me and my bank account, I checked my Instagram while I was watching bands at Death Fest, and I saw that Death Rattle Market, which is a site that does like bootleg metal shirts, he put up his Blu-ray collection for sale. And so, again, like the fool I am, I thought, why not take a look? And he actually had things that I had been looking for at really incredible prices. So first was this Vinegar Syndrome copy of Play Dead with the out-of-print slipcover. I've seen this before, actually, and I really enjoyed it. It's fucking stupid, and it's not that good, but I really love dogs. I love dog movies. I love dumb horror movies, so I guess this is right up my alley, right? Like, it's not that good, but I could absolutely see myself watching it again, so. And I had been looking for this slipcover for a while, not because I'm, like, you know, the biggest, like, stickler for it. Like, I don't absolutely need it, but, like, I mean, look at the difference in the quality here. Like, this slipcover is hard as fuck. I don't know. He only charged me $10 for it, though, and I had previously been looking at, like, 30 is what people were charging. And then the next two were the only Criterion Blu-rays that he had that I didn't already have, and he was charging $10 for these, so, like, I really can't possibly go wrong. But it's Kuroneko and Quaidon, which are two films that I haven't seen, but have been on my watch list for a while. They're both, like, Japanese horror films, I think. I know this one's like a ghost one, but I'm not sure if this is actually supposed to be horror, but it's like one of the most acclaimed films ever made, so threw that one in, why not? Before I get into this last stack, I was on, me and my two partners took a trip up to Philly to go to the Metal and Beer Fest and to visit one of my partner's friends, so we stayed with her. And on the way up, we stopped at a gas station, and as a joke, I was like, let's see what kind of movies they have. Haha. We're gonna find some great fucking, I'm gonna find the Ingmar Bergman set in here, you know, like, but lo and behold, they actually did have something I wanted. And this was maybe a questionable decision, but it was like $7, and I actually do want it. It's the Cats and Dogs double feature, which is obviously, like, you know, pure Kino cinema, like, more important than Kuroneko or Quaidon or anything like that, right? Okay, in all seriousness, the first one I actually do really like. I grew up with this film, and I love cats and I love dogs, and it's stupid and it's funny and I love it. The second one's not good. I saw it in the theater back in the day as a kid when it came out, and I rewatched it recently, and it's really not that good. But, you know, for the double pack, why not? And finally, my halfway to Black Friday sale actually showed up fairly early, which is nice. So my subscription hasn't started yet, but everything I actually bought as part of the sale did show up. And it was mostly partner label stuff, because honestly, those things interest me more. It's part of the reason why I wanted the subscription in the first place, is to be able to get the partner label stuff cheap. So all but one is partner label. All but one are from the partner labels. So the only Vinegar Syndrome title I have is Nightmare Weekend. It's got this cool reflective slipcover on it. It was really close to selling out. I can't lie to you, I think FOMO got to me on this one, and it had some pretty good reviews. It has this lovely embossed slipcover, and I got it. So we'll see. Next is a Altered Innocence title. It's called Colejas, or in English it's called Pals. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I got this partially because it's an LGBT coming of age film, partially because Sister Hyde, you know, did the design, and she's my favorite graphic designer in physical media. But really, I think I got it because it has a nip slip on it. Like, come on. You gotta have the nip slip. That's all I'm gonna say. Next is I think this is a Music Box Films one. I can't find it on the actual slip, but it's called Heavy Trip. As a metal enthusiast, I tend to like films like this. It was giving me heavy, like, Lords of Chaos vibes, which is one of my favorites. And the back of it says symphonic, post-apocalyptic, reindeer crushing, Christ abusing, extreme, war, pagan, Fennoscandian metal. You got the dudes with the corpse paint on the front. Like, I don't know, it seems like a pretty good time. And if it's a riskier one, you know, these slips go for money, and I think that one's out of print, so. This next one, I believe, is another Altered Innocence. Yeah. This is one that Sister Hyde and Joshua Conkle talked about on their Bloodhouse podcast, which is maybe my favorite film podcast other than the Faculty of Horror. I don't know, I really love it. And they talked about this film, Arrebato. And their cosign is pretty substantial for me, I think. But honestly, like, anything that you've described as like an art house horror film is probably almost guaranteed to be something I like. Like, it's hard to mess that up. So I thought this was a pretty safe bet. The next one is the Altered Innocence Volume 1 set. I really love this kind of thing. This is just a collection of, like, hard to find LGBT short films. Short films are things, you know, is something that I think is really undervalued, and they're harder to find, you know, especially in a nice physical version. Like, you can maybe pull them up on Vimeo or YouTube or something, but I don't know, to just give them the proper treatment like this, I think, is really nice. And yeah, I'm really intrigued to see all these different LGBT directors and their visions. Okay, and the last one, which they got me with that infernal $5 coupon that they sent out. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this. I want to say modern, but I know that's wrong. Morvern Caller? It's a Lynn Ramsey film. People were really talking this up, saying it was like a Criterion worthy thing, that they were surprised didn't get picked up by Criterion, but Fun City Editions got it. I know Criterion just put out Ratcatcher, which I haven't seen, but looks excellent. But I have seen We Need to Talk About Kevin, and I love that film a lot. So this looks like a winner. So we're going to give it a go. Okay. So that's a giant stack of films that I've talked about. Lots of which were blind buys, but that's a problem for me to handle. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Let me know what you think about the films I picked up here. If I said I hadn't seen it yet, let me know, like, what I should prioritize and what you recommend. Okay, I think that's everything from me today. I love you very much, and I hope that your day ends better than it started.